Hola. Welcome to CFTV's El Hueco de Ocho. Mi nombre es Sly Stevens. Week 8 starts off with some fireworks. The game featured the two highest scores from the week. The Dolts even started a kicker on a bye week. Shame, beat the Intruders 108 to 105. Chris Johnson racked up 35 points with 228 yards, rushing, and 2 touchdown performance. Mojo Drew continues to earn his high draft picks status by scoring 29 points for the Intruders. This win puts the Dolts at 7-1 and back into sole possession of first place in the crunch in their division. The weekly high win will cover their fine for the bye week infraction. Number 2 in the crunch, the Bonner Blitz lost to the Great Scots 91 to 69. This loss drops the Blitz to a game behind the Dolts in both the North Division and crunch overall. Matt Forte finally scored some points for the Scots with 24. While waiver wire pickup Matt Hasselback scored 18 points for the Blitz. This win puts the Scots into first place in the East at 4-4. Speaking of the Eastern Division, they were the hot ones this week. The Puckheads body checked the Iowa Rooks 101 to 64, behind Aaron Rodgers' 28 points. The Rooks had a solid performance from D'Angelo Williams, but since they started a defense on the bye week, not that that would have helped, they too were fine this week. The other hot team in the East, the Shrod Squad, beat the Goat Ropers 87 to 62. Brett Favre got the call on, outscored Peyton Manning 24 to 17, proving the old guy still has it, especially playing on the frozen tundra of Lambeau Field. Speaking of an incredible performance, the Incredibles repelled the Army 89 to 56 in a divisional matchup. Donovan McNabb finally played his potential, scoring 22 points, while Adrian Peterson ran over the Packers for 20 points. If only Incredibles could play their divisional foes every week. This one puts them at 3-5 and 3-0 in the division, and just a game behind the 4-4 Army. And finally, the Jailbirds slipped by the Jackhammers 76 to 64. Drew Brees only scored 20 points this week, but the true indicator of this game could be that the Jackhammers' leading scorer was Tim Hightower with 15 points. Just sad. Now that we're at the halfway point in the crunch season, it's time to bring in my pal Jimmy Sal to see where the teams are at. Welcome back, Mr. Manicotti. Thanks for covering for me last week, by the way.
No problem, Sly. Always good to have a friend of the family. I can't believe it's been 4 weeks since we talked last.
It has been 4 weeks, and speaking of that, has your wife missed me?
Yeah.
Nah. Yes, time flies. Let's get right to it. The hottest team in the crunch has to be the Dolts.
Oh, very true, Sly. The Dolts, they're averaging close to 100 points a week. You know, they've got 4 weekly wins under their belt. With production like that, they could put Lorenzo the Loan Shark out of work, even in this economy.
Yeah, that's pretty good. You're right. Now, let's not count out the Bonner Blitz. These guys won the league just a few years ago at 6-2. They're right on the heels of the Dolts and Disco Don.
Yep. They still got a lot of divisional games left, especially a big one against the Dolts in Week 12. You know, that'll be like a north side turf war with those two get together. And remember, they got a shot at the division if they can pull that one off. So look for Week 12.
Very true. And speaking of close divisional races, all of them are wide open right now. The Army has a 1-game lead over the Incredibles in the South. The Jackhammers have a 1-game lead over the Intruders in the West. And the Great Scots and Puckheads are tied at 4-4 in the East, though the Scots own that tiebreaker.
Oh, you could bet the Puckheads are looking forward to Week 13 when they face off against the Great Scots. As for the Incredibles, they can't seem to beat anybody outside their own division. But the Army will continue, unless they can prove they can win outside the division, the Army will continue to march to the South, just like Sherman through Georgia.
Ah, nice Civil War reference.
Who? Civil. I'm talking about Sherman Bosetti. You know, how he marched through Georgia's bodega, looking for that rat finker, Nicky Mazzetti. Look, he's putting his nose where it done, you know what I mean. But back to football. Back in the West, the Jackhammers and the Intruders is still anybody's to win. And really, looking at the divisions, any team there can still win. But the Dolts in the North, all the other games or team are only 2 games back, so they're looking good, but they don't have it yet. Only half the season left to play, so a lot going on. Anybody's thing can really happen. Just like things up in the air, like a Luigi's Pizza.
Oh, let's talk about food is making me hungry. Let's wrap this up.
Okay. See you, Sly.
Thanks for coming, Jimmy Sal. It's always a pleasure to see you. And until next time, I'm Sly Stevens, and we'll see you on CFTV.